You are listening to This is Oklahoma, hosted by Mike Hearn, telling stories of Oklahomans and those that have made it their home.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma. Mike Hearn here, host, back with another episode. Excited to share this episode with you today, but before we do, huge shout out to our sponsors. The Oklahoma Hall of Fame has been sharing Oklahoma's story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com. And for daily updates, go to oklahomahof on Instagram and give them a follow. Our other sponsor today is Chickasaw Nation. Now, the Chickasaw Nation have sponsored pretty much everything in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma. And it's an honor to have their name and their brand supporting this podcast. A huge shout out to Governor Anatobi for supporting this podcast. It really means a lot. This episode is brought to you by the Doghouse OKC. Recently, I have been in need of some doggy daycare for my two pups, and the Doghouse have come in clutch. The team over there are incredible. They've taken care of my two golden doodles, and so it's been an honor to partner with them on the podcast and share the love. Adding to that is the Doghouse, and so if you're in need of doggy daycare in the day or boarding overnight, they do grooming and other cool things too, but I've had a fantastic experience, and it's an honor and a privilege to share this with you too. So go to thedogHouseOKC.com and follow them on Instagram at thedogHouseOKC, and hopefully our pups will run into each other. What's up, guys? Welcome back to an episode of This is Oklahoma. Mike and your host, back with another episode. We are up in Stillwoods today in this beautiful building, which has the name of my guest and her husband on the side. So we'll hear all about it today, but it gives me great pleasure to introduce to the podcast Mrs. Anne Greenwood. Anne, thank you so much for inviting me to this beautiful music building, and excited to dive into your story today. I think the perfect place to start is it is Oklahoma Hall of Fame induction week, and it is coming up on a year of you being inducted. I can't believe the year's gone so fast.
I cannot believe it either. It went by so fast. That was the greatest night of my life, and still hard for me to imagine.
Yeah.
So proud and so honored, and I cannot imagine what my parents are thinking. But to represent my small town in Southwest Oklahoma, and we're few, but there are some great people from Southwest Oklahoma. Roger Hardesty, Scott Hendricks, the now deceased, and Scott Mamaday. Yeah. We have some great people, but now I've joined their ranks, and I am so proud. But we've got a great class coming in, and I look forward to celebrating them on Thursday night and seeing some of the fellow people coming back. Tim Dubois, representing Oklahoma State. Scott Hendricks will be there. But I still can't believe I'm a part of that elite group. And I can't imagine a night that I will ever forget that was more important. And I'll tell you, quite frankly, I was kind of shaking in my boots, but it was a beautiful night, and so many people there that I didn't even know that came up to thank me for what I've done for students, which is what my life is really about. Yeah.
So let's go back a little bit. Tell me about the time where you get the phone call from Shannon to know that day, where are you, and how, when was that? Are you getting that phone call that you're going to be inducted?
Well, I honestly have to tell you, I just couldn't believe it. It was a true out-of-body experience. I cannot even imagine, from my roots and where I came from. And of course, I'm proud of all that I've been able to do, but I cannot even imagine that they chose me. And I serve on that board, and I know the caliber of people that they choose. But it was like, I told my husband, and I was, Mike, I don't understand. And he was so proud of me, but I was like, I don't understand how this happened. And I immediately, I want to call people and say, I don't understand, but I made it. And this is the biggest night of my life. Yeah. And friends said, absolutely, I will be there. This is amazing.
Such a special night. Who introduced you that night, and what is your relationship to the person who introduced you?
Jennifer Grigsby. Okay. We've been friends for a very long time, and she knows everything I've done, especially what I do for students. And I definitely make a difference through buildings, because we need buildings to house, such as the one we're in right now. It was a desperate need. But she also knows I don't just do buildings. I spend time with the students, and she's seen it firsthand. And my passion is for students in the form of scholarships and facilities, but she's seen firsthand and probably understands more than anybody that I will drop anything to help a student in need.
Yeah.
And recognize and know how much more needs to be done to make their life experience the best it can be, so that Oklahoma State can send them on their way to be the success that I know that they can be.
Yeah. Yeah. And you look at this year's theme for homecoming, it's Oklahoma across the world, right? Oklahoma State across the world. And there's so many examples of, most people look at the athletic side, national champions, and the world champions and things like that. But, we're in the music building and there's people who have reach from all over the world that have come from this place as well. So
Yes.
It's not just athletics.
We have a young man who's the youngest French horn graduated from the Greenwood School of Music, now the Greenwood School of Music, playing in the Philadelphia Orchestra, which is, I think, the number 2 orchestra in the world. I mean, in the U.S., sorry. Yeah. We have another young man who you just met his mother. He's in the Utah Symphony. I mean, they're all over the world. And I couldn't be prouder of this music school and what we produce. Your School of Business, likewise, we support that. Those students are out and working in New York, working in Houston, doing great things. So we touch the world. And I think that makes Oklahoma look that much better.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my thing is, this is just the beginning. And the most important thing, they never forget where they came from. They never forget that it all began here at Oklahoma State, and that they had teachers and TAs and maybe even alums like me who gave them a little push and got their success started.
Yeah. A great way to segue into not forgetting where you're from. Take me to where you grew up, Carnegie, Oklahoma, from such a young age. What was it like, and what was your childhood dreams?
Well, it is a very small farm community, but a strong community of faith and support. And I learned from an early age that we always helped each other. And I do believe that I learned philanthropy at an early age. And I said it in my speech, we simply called it helping one another. All families helped one another. All families looked out for one another. We learned it in the church. We learned it in the schools. And so I learned it early from my parents and friends and teachers. And it was a strong community. Even though it was very small, we produced some remarkable people who've gone on to do great things in the form of ministers and teachers and professors. It's Roger Hardesty's mother-in-law was my 3rd grade teacher. I mean, it's just all these connections. The Mama Days were great friends of my family. And it's a strong community, and I'm very proud of it, even though we're very small. And it's a tough life being a farmer. It's hard work. You don't make a lot of money, and it's just it's a survival mode at times. But it's it was a great upbringing. I wouldn't trade it for anything. My husband's from Tulsa.
Okay.
He kind of got confused. He said, wow, it's really small. Where are the people? But he came to love it.
Yeah.
He really did. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. And I think the life lessons I learned from my teachers were invaluable. Now, I think they had to jump on me when we got to college because we didn't always have the advanced classes. But coming to Oklahoma State, I had the teachers who were willing to help me along the way. And again, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah.
But it led to me, the dreams that it led me to is, I'm going to go and I'm going to do something more. I intend to, because I love my little town, but I'm going to live in a bigger city. So as soon as I finished my accounting degree, I was moved to Tulsa, and I loved it. And now I've come full circle and moved back to my college town, so I kind of have moved to a slower pace. But I will never trade and would never forsake my little community, and I'm glad I was able to represent it.
Yeah.
And it's sad that our small towns are kind of shrinking, but I'm proud of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is sad to see the history in the small towns, in the places that you grew up and thriving, downtowns, whether it was, a convenience store or the post office or the drugstore or all these places, that history, unfortunately, will, pass over it.
It will. We do have the Liberty Theater, the oldest movie theater in the state of Oklahoma. And so almost anybody that they will know that, and they have been there.
Yeah.
It's just kind of interesting, and it is still thriving, believe it or not.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. And a lot of people go there just to get a hot dog, of all things.
Okay.
So that's probably our claim to fame. But the one thing that will save it, we are the Kiowa Nation headquarters.
Okay.
And so that's also helped
Mhm.
thrive. And growing up, we had the most remarkable high school. We had the most beautiful paintings from the Kiowa Five, which are beautiful artists. And I think, boy, did I take that for granted. Remarkable paintings. And the Kiowa Five had a beautiful exhibition at Philbrook. And I thought, in my youth, I did not appreciate
Yeah.
all that I was surrounded by.
Mhm.
Beautiful artwork, beautiful fancy dancers. It was just always, I was surrounded by it, and we were friends, and I didn't probably appreciate it to the level that I should have, but extraordinary art,
Mhm.
just commonplace in my high school. And
Yeah.
so I thought that's kind of neat,
Yeah.
It's a heritage that we can be very, very proud of.
Yeah, and I mean, to this day, you're very involved with the performing arts. Obviously, we're in the music center and other. Your philanthropy reaches far and wide. Does it come from that high school then? Does your love for kind of the art scene as well come from time in high school? Did you participate? Were you painting? Were you musically inclined growing up? Where does that come from?
Well, I'll tell you, here's two ways. I was in the band, and I did love music. I played piano. We were expected to. It was expected from our parents that we at least tried. But I loved the piano, and I played for church, and I loved it. I wouldn't say I was particularly good, but I loved it, and I loved being in the band. So I've always had an affinity for a marching band. But I love Broadway, and I always watched the Tony Awards. And I thought, someday I'm going to Broadway. I'm going to see a play. And I didn't get there very early. It took a while to get there. But on my 65th birthday, do you know what I got as a surprise from Mike Greenwood? I went to the Tony Awards. He surprised me with tickets to the Tony Awards as one of my birthday gifts. And I was in heaven. I mean, we didn't have very good seats, but I was at the Tony Awards in Radio City Music Hall. And I was like, I cannot believe I'm here. It was amazing. And the winner that year was Oklahoma, the new rendition of Oklahoma. So I thought, I made it. It took me 65 years, but I made it.
Yeah.
But I love Broadway, and it was from watching PBS. And I had parents who loved Broadway, and I would go to Lawton Community Theater. I've always loved Broadway. And I don't think you don't have to go to New York. But if you watch PBS or if you go to community theater, and I was halfway equidistance between Cameron and Southwestern State, they put on good plays at both of those universities. And we went to OCU, Lyric, whatever we could.
Yeah.
We didn't have a lot of money, but my parents always exposed us to the arts. We were huge readers. So culture was a big part of our home. I was most fortunate. Huge reading family.
Yeah.
And I believe that improves your intellect. And this is so crazy. But this is such nerds. We read the encyclopedias because we were just big readers. And we would just had a thirst for knowledge because we didn't have electronics. We just didn't have the gadgets that kids have today. But we loved, so that's the way we entertained ourselves.
Yeah.
But for me, that probably, I knew I would love Broadway. And my first play, I believe, was Will Rogers' Follies. And I fell in love. So I go to as much Broadway now as I can. Regional, here, anywhere I can.
Yeah.
I love it. And I'm lucky enough to have it right in my own hometown now. So I think it started at home, and my parents played back in the day, the vinyls, that's all we had. We played a lot of Rodgers and Hammerstein. They loved the old Broadway South Pacific, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Um,
That's so
down,
fortunate.
yeah, I was blessed to have. Now, was I good in the band? Probably not that great because we didn't have a lot of money, as I told you. The first sister, she played clarinet, so I had to. I got to play clarinet because I got the hand-me-down, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It worked out okay. And then I was a twirler in the marching band. Not like the twirlers in the cowboy marching band, but I wanted to be a twirler, and so that's what I did.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun.
It's watching the twirlers in the cowboy marching band is very impressive.
Oh my
They're
gosh.
amazing.
Those girls are good. They were at the basketball game. Holy cow, they're good. I always go to them and say, they're remarkable. I was nothing like that, but I like to twirl.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's why I love the cowboy marching band, because I know how hard they work and not a lot of reward necessarily, not scholarships and all of that.
Yeah. Going back to your childhood, what do you remember most about your parents? What are the significant memories that stand out?
Well, I was only a few years out of college when my mother passed away, so I've spent most of my life without my mom, but she was extremely supportive. And she knew I wanted to come to Oklahoma State, but I was the third child, and there were 3 in college at once. So it was, or one had just barely graduated. So it was like, sure, you can go to Oklahoma State, but you got to figure it out. And she wanted me to go to Oklahoma State. You got to get every financial package you can. So, and she dreamed of me coming here. She knew I wanted it because the options were to go to the small community colleges close by, and I didn't want to go to those.
Yeah.
And she is the biggest cheerleader and so excited for me to come here. And so I'm glad she saw that dream come true. And likewise for my dad, and he was all in. He was more quietly behind the scenes. But once I came here, then the next 2 came. So we have 3 graduates from Oklahoma State. But my father was tried and true, supported us all the way, and he lived a good, long life.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you, she's been gone so long, it's your memories fade because 2/3 of my life I've been without her. It's kind of, and interestingly enough, she had a heart issue, and her doctor was Dr. Zudi. She had the best heart physician you can get, but it was just, she just didn't have a good long life.
Yeah.
She made it through at least seeing me graduate, so I was glad for that.
Yeah. What was the draw then to Oklahoma State? What was that dream, as well as your, for you, but also your mom, to have you come to Oklahoma State?
Well, I came to camps here, and I loved the campus. I loved the atmosphere, and it was honestly the most friendly campus, the most fun campus. The students are so friendly here. They're still as friendly. I spend a fair amount of time on campus, as much as I possibly can. And it is just, the students here, everybody is, they're kind, they're welcoming. And I dream that it's always going to be that way. If it's that way in the 70s, and it still is today, I think it will always be. It is America's most beautiful campus, because the beautification project, it's just gorgeous buildings, gorgeous art. The landscaping is extraordinary, and the students are just welcoming.
Yeah.
They're kind, they're welcoming, the professors are good. There are exceptions, certainly, but by and large, it is just a welcoming, good place. And so I wanted to be here.
Yeah.
And from the second I stepped on, the friends I made are still the friends today. And so it was a place to be. I knew it was a fit for me, and it was from the second I stepped on as just a camper.
Yeah. What do you remember from that first day of campus as a student, your freshman year? Does anything stand out?
Yeah, I was scared. I didn't think I could find my classes. We did that Sunday night, and I was like, oh my God. I had this, they don't have it now, but I had a little sheet of paper like, this day. Okay, I got to be at the classroom building. Oh my gosh, I got to be all the way back at Ag Hall. Oh no, I got to be over at the SARE team. This is one big campus, and of course I'm a freshman, so they give you the 7:30 classes. And it's like, you can't make it from Ag Hall to Saratine and make it in. I mean, that's a big walk. And then all the boys lined up at Library Fountain and held up their numbers, and judged you. And you're like, oh, Lord, please don't let me fall. But it was like, I'm not going to be able to find my class. Oh, no. Oh, no. I mean, and then you didn't want to get caught looking at your schedule like, okay, where am I supposed to be next? It was just such a different world. But I carried a heavy load, and then I had to work study because that was a part of my financial package. So I was at Ag Hall, Ag Ed, and I was blessed with the most remarkable, kind professors who became a lifelong friend of mine. So I was just lucky. They were good to me and helped me learn a lot about this campus.
Yeah.
But it's a big campus. When you come from a class of 65 to the highest as a baby boomer, there's a bunch of us.
Mm-hmm.
But it was everybody on my floor at Kerr Drummond. At Drummond was so nice. It's going to be sad when they have to take that down.
Yeah.
I know it'll come down someday.
Yeah, that is, the good and the bad thing about you being involved with this university and it being a huge part of your life for so long. You get to see, everything evolve, right? But the campus has maintained, its beauty, and obviously the people are amazing, and like you said, you have lifelong friends here, and, there's freshmen that are going to be coming, in the fall or in the spring that will have the same experience that you had of like trying to figure out where I've got to go. Every freshman goes through that first day experience, right?
Yes.
And, and you have that bond with your freshmen.
And you go to the union, you think, oh my gosh, it's so big. I'm so scared. Everybody's looking at me. And of course they're not.
Right.
But you're just horrified.
Yeah.
But again, everybody's welcoming. It's it's the best culture of welcoming.
Yeah. What leads you to go down the accounting route?
I come from a family of teachers.
Okay.
And that's a noble and honorable profession. But I also know in Oklahoma, we don't pay very well. And I thought, I need to explore some other options. And I had friends who were going into business, and I thought, wow, I never really thought about that. And they were doing business administration. And I was going, what do you do with that? And well, they didn't have a good option. So then I started looking at accounting, and I was like, And it is just something that clicks with my mind. But now the tricky part is back in the late 70s, there's not a lot of us women. It was a little bit male dominated, but it worked out. And I went to oil and gas in Tulsa, and there were lots and lots of jobs. Now it became cyclical because a lot of jobs were moved to Dallas, San Antonio, Houston, and I wanted to stay in Tulsa. So I had a little bit of a struggle because lots of mergers and relocations. So my last 15 years, I moved to utility accounting because that one at least stayed in Tulsa. But that was good too. I needed to stay in Tulsa, and I wanted to stay in Oklahoma. I didn't want to have to be in Texas. No offense to Texas, but I wanted to be here. And all of the large oil companies were getting sucked up by the Exxons, and even ConocoPhillips got, sucked into Houston. And that just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
But oil and gas was very exciting. It was good jobs. And I'm not saying I took it. But the truth is, if you're going to work, you might as well make I hate to sound like a mercenary, but that's the truth.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And, there were lots of jobs. I kind of also tailored it because, quite frankly, I left with a lot of school debt, so I needed to pay it off. That was part of my loans were part of my package.
Yeah.
Sadly, like a lot of kids, because it's a lot of, as the state continues to decline in support of our education, higher ed, we have kids going out with student loans. So I always tell them, trust me when I tell you, we know what you're going. We are the ones who know.
Yeah.
And that's why we support student scholarships. Because we don't want you to have to pay them back until you're so old.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a burden, right? It adds pressure, so much pressure.
Yes, it's a burden. Just like the young man I told you about, who's leaving school, he can't afford it, and that breaks my heart.
Yeah, but through that, through those life lessons builds grit, determination, and hard work, which will pay off in the long run.
Yes, it does. I think having not had things handed to me made both my husband and I very strong. And it makes us understand. And when we mentor students and they try to tell us we just don't understand how hard it is, they're talking to the wrong people.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mike will give them a lesson like, no, actually I do, because he had a job in Stillwater where he had to go without the way our dorm food was.
Mm-hmm.
It went from 4 to 6. His job ended at 6. He didn't have dinner for a whole year because he couldn't make it in time.
Yeah.
And he didn't have enough money to.
Yeah.
So, no. And he really thought those were his darkest days. He thought, I don't belong in college. I can't do this. And think what a different world. We probably wouldn't, this building wouldn't exist.
Mm.
So, but he would tell you he learned how strong he really is. I think I learned by having to manage my time. But I wouldn't say I necessarily wish that on somebody.
Yeah.
So if I can make their life easier, I want to.
Yeah.
I really do.
How did you meet Mike, and where did you guys meet?
In Tulsa, later in life, we both had one of the young men that worked for him said, you really need to meet this lady. She really likes OSU. And, like you do. And no kidding. She likes OSU. So we would see each other, and then one thing led to another, and he had been divorced many, many years, and I just a few, and I kind of was like, when you're 40 or 38, 39, you're just kind of like, oh no, a little more cautious than when you're just a kid, because it's you recognize that marriage is not a fairy tale, but I really liked him a lot, and then one thing led to another, and I told him I would marry him if he took me to Hawaii. And actually he did.
Yeah.
And he said, and I think we should just get married in Hawaii. So we did. So we got married on Maui, and that's why it's so special to us. And that was coming up this year, or 2026, 32 years.
Wow.
My family kept saying, we're waiting for our plane tickets. And I said, I think you're going to have to keep waiting. Because this is just us. And but we just connected, and it's not that I didn't, it's just that you take life more seriously, and I was like, oh, I got to get this right.
Mm-hmm.
But we are a perfect fit. We're nothing alike. We're very different, but I think I temper him and he me.
Yeah.
We really are. You don't need to be alike. And in fact, I think if you're alike, it probably isn't good. Mm. We're a very good complement of each other. Mm-hmm. And I think I soften him in a lot of ways because he's very driven. Okay. And he tries to make me into that mold, and it doesn't work. And I think I make him relax and enjoy life a little bit. So, and I think I have taught him the importance of giving back even more. Because he's just like, but we got to make sure. Well, obviously, if we all knew when we were going to die, we could just plan. But he's finally learned, and he's not even, he's the most generous man in the whole world. He gives and gives and gives. But coming from very humble background, you always think, well, should I not? It was a little bit of a leap of faith for us for the first time.
Yeah.
But he got it, and he got it quick, and he saw the difference we can make.
Yeah. Giving is, at any scale, and people who, whether you give $10 a week at church or you've given $1 million, that feeling you get when you contribute, when you help somebody out, it is infectious, and it makes you feel, it almost makes you feel better than the person or the organization receiving the money. And when you have that ability, or like you said, that deep upbringing from your family, or the community was always giving something. Maybe it wasn't monetary, but it was food, it was their time. When you grow up around that, and you get to share that with others. And also, you know, you might not see the impact of giving in front of somebody, and they've got to grow up and seeing the way that you have, right? You grew up and saw other people help you out. Some of those people never lived to see the impact that you had, but they had a huge impact on you. And that is the other thing, when you know, the ripple effect that goes out when people grow up here and they're on the receiving end of yourself and Mike's generosity and everybody else at the university that gives. You know, we're not gonna be around to see them grow up and get to a point in their life where they give, but the example is already there and the foundation has been set. And I think that's more exciting, of continuing that growth.
It is. And I was at Hideaway in Tulsa a couple of years ago, and this young man was waiting on us. He goes, "You don't remember me, but you gave me a snack in the Cowboy Marching Band."
Yeah.
And I said, "I don't remember you exactly, but thank you for telling me that." He goes, "You know, it made a difference. We were hot, we were tired." And I said, "Thank you." I said, I always want to it's a small thing, but I always made a difference. He said, "You have no idea. It always brightened our day when you came around."
Yeah.
And I thought, I know it's nothing, but that's why the student lounge is named after me, because I have given a lot of snacks in my day.
Everybody knows you have
Yes,
snacks.
because I think, especially at the end of this semester, I know they're too tired and too busy to go to the store, and they're most likely out of money.
Yeah.
So that's when I really try to ramp it up.
Yeah.
But I would tell you, the message we give them when we give them a scholarship or do something for them is, don't forget where you came from. Don't forget Oklahoma State. And when you can, you give back. It doesn't have to be money, but if you see someone along the way, or you're in a position to hire, you go the extra mile for the OSU person, or, give a smile, do something good.
Yeah.
And when you can give back, think about doing a scholarship or do what you can, because somebody at Oklahoma State, me, did something for you. As an alum, you do the same because it's the least we can do. If we all keep, I'm trying to teach students the value of philanthropy at an early age, because the sooner they can learn that, the better.
Yeah.
The world it can be so much better. And that's kind of my mission. And that's what I've done since I retired at 52, which also happens to be the age of my mother when she passed away.
Okay.
And that's kind of by design. That last third of my life has been dedicated to philanthropy.
Yeah.
It will go down as the most meaningful part of my life.
Yeah.
And it's not just money, it's time. It's probably way more time than money when it's all said and done. Because I hear and I think, okay, Mike, we got to do something. This is what I heard. We're the only school in the Big 12 without a dedicated tennis facility. We got to do something about it. The Sarah Center is terrible. We got to do something.
Yeah.
And on and on.
You guys are a great fit.
Well, and I think what you could probably describe us at is a proactive. There's only one donation for this university that someone solicited, and that's Burns for the Performing Arts Center. He asked for that, and we're the first donor to that as a cash donor, but as a patron. But we went to someone for this. We went to Burns and said, "Burns, is somebody going to give you money for the music school?" And he goes, "No, we're out of money." We said, "Okay, we'll do it. We got to do it. We want to do it while the builders are still here. We don't want to lose them. Keep them on site." The Sarah had it. And we went to Mike Holder and said, "We want to build a tennis center." We went to him, and he was like, "Who are these people? We don't even know who they are." Well,
yeah,
we do that because I'm a champion for the underdog, kind of, is another way to look at it. And I have a room at the library. Mike went to the dean and said, "I want to do this for Anne as a surprise." That's kind of just what we do.
Yeah.
And we have some things we're going to talk to President Hess about that we will go to him.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what we do. And we learn from Boone Pickens the value in giving while you're still alive, where you can see the difference you can make and the joy that you see when you change a life.
Yeah.
And the way he put it in typical Boone fashion is, what's the fun in wait until you're dead? And we learned that on his 80th birthday on the library lawn when we celebrated him. And he is not kidding. And I had the pleasure and the honor of speaking at his memorial in Gallagher-Iba. And it was another great day, out-of-body day, that they chose me. And I was the only woman on the stage. And I told my story of how he changed our lives, the lives of two people, Mike and I, by that message and why we do what we do. And he was the reason. And his family came up to me and said, "Thank you for telling your story. We had no idea what Dad did."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "It's true." So if you ever go to the museum, you can actually hear my speech.
Oh, wow.
There's a
Nice.
place there where they have the memorial and you can click on my name.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen it. And I saw it and I was like, yikes. But I really wanted to say, we're not saying goodbye to Boone.
Yeah.
We're saying every time we walk into this, and every time you walk into this building, this is a tribute to him, because we did this. He was our inspiration.
Yeah.
And you know what? We gave money for this and people joined us immediately. And that's all him. Because he told us how to live our life and we're following that rule.
And the lesson that obviously you're talking about is these, by going and saying, you're never you said one time you've been asked, but the other times it's being proactive. And if you wait to be asked, then you might not even get asked, and the proactive nature of going in, seeing a need and helping out. It takes the first person like yourself and Mike to go in, and then, like you said, others follow. It always takes that one person to take that leap. And you said earlier, that first donation was hard. It was a stretch, right? It's hard to mentally get over that as well. Even if you do have the money, the mental side of it, because you've, growing up a certain way and having those beliefs of, rainy day fund or whatever it is that you got to hold on to your money. Tell me about that first donation. How does that come about and where do you donate?
The first big donation was the tennis center. And it was kind of like, oh, dang, I don't know. But I really wanted it because I'd watched so much tennis at the Colvin with my dad and he loved it. So that tennis center is largely dedicated to Joe Morris, which is court number 1 court, center court outside. Court number 2 is me. And I always tease the players and say, you don't lose on court number 2 or court number 1, please. And my dad loved tennis, and Coach Wadley was so kind to him, and he watched so much good tennis. Players were good to him, and I thought, when we came back and we were watching tennis, I thought, this is nuts. We can't build a fan base. It's getting too cold. It's getting too windy. We have to go play at a country club in Oklahoma City. I think it was the Greens, or we have to go to Ponca City and practice twice a day. And Burns Hargis told us this makes him a nervous wreck to have athletes on the road twice a day, or to Tulsa, who was kind enough to share their facilities. And so I thought, this is crazy. And so I said, should we, what can we do about this, Mike? And he said, okay, we're going to do it. This is how much. And I was like, oh. But then I thought, okay, I want to do it. So we went to Karsten, had our meeting, and he's going, I wanted that spot. I wanted to be front and center, part of the athletic village, because the students are internationals largely, and they don't have cars. So I wanted life to be easy for them. I wanted international students to be able to walk as fans, the whole bit. And it is in a strategic location. It's a beautiful location. But it was a little bit of a holy cow. This is scary. But the day we opened it and the tennis players got to play on the indoor facility, it was like Christmas Day, and to see their joy and how beautiful it turned out, it was worth it. But it was coming from our backgrounds, it was a little scary. But the joy, it was just to see the difference you can make. What he said, what's the fun in waiting? If we'd waited to do it when we were gone, we'd have not seen any of that. We'd have not seen remarkable tennis played and fun times and tournaments and hosting the national championship. I mean, that was our dream always, and we were supposed to do it COVID year. Yeah. So my heart was broken, but we did it. And have coaches come up to me and say, you have the most remarkable tennis facility. And I can just say thank you, because we studied others and we wanted to do it better. And another coach come up and say, we wish we had a donor like you because you did everything right. It's just, and we hosted the NCAA for the first time ever. The paraplegic tennis got moved to the front courts. They've always had to play their championships in the back courts and be kind of an afterthought. So we got to make history. They played their championship match on the front courts, and it was their joy in their face was amazing. So I felt like we got to make history.
Yeah. Yeah, it's having that impact. It's massive.
It is. So I feel like good for us, good for OSU to get to host that and make history.
Yeah.
But I'm proud of that facility. I'm very proud of this facility and the students that are going through it. And our music industry awards, music industry education department, 4 years in a row, Billboard magazine top 10 music industry program, 4 years in a row. That's a big deal.
It's a huge deal. Yeah.
I mean, if we got to make it 5.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and it's largely because of that studio. There's 10 in the world. And that's because a donor met our challenge. We provided the building and they stepped up and provided that studio. It's a local lady, and she said, I believe in your building. I'm going to join you. And many others. You'll see names all over this building. So we provided the inspiration. Others joined us.
Yeah.
But it's just, that's the way Oklahoma State people are, which is why I'm very proud of. That's the culture we have. Mm-hmm. And the people that believe in the arts and believe in our students.
Yeah, because it is, when you think of donations, most people, their first thought is athletics. They think of donating to tennis or golf or football or basketball. They unfortunately, generally people think of the arts as the afterthought. However, when you think of the performing arts here, you got the McKnight Center and this studio and the amazing things that come out of this school. It is a huge piece of Oklahoma State. When you mentioned the marching band, everyone knows who the Cowboy Marching Band is, and all the other things that happen here. But like you said earlier, it just takes one to start, and then you have this wonderful lady from in town who wants to match or help in, and then collectively the culture takes over, and you have multiple amazing facilities across this university.
And the remarkable thing, they warm up, the choral or the symphony, they warm up here, walk down the hall, and go perform in the remarkably beautiful Performing Arts Center. I mean, they don't have to. I mean, it's just that's what's so beautiful. We're connected, and that's why we couldn't let that opportunity pass. And that decision came on a car ride from our house. We were going to meet with Burns on something else, and I said, Mike, it's not going to happen. They don't have enough money. And he goes, do you want to do it? And I was like, about to stroke out. Like, I don't know. And he goes, we can do it. Let's just talk to Burns. And I said, okay, let's do it. And so when we told some people, we want to keep it kind of secret. Then they went and got Burns. Burns actually cried. He got tears in his eyes and he said, thank you. Then my husband, being the joker that he is, he said, I was just kidding. And then Burns said, I heard you. You can't back out. But it wasn't going to happen if we didn't step up.
Yeah.
But because we did, so too did many. And so that is probably what I'm the most proud of, is that others said, we want to join this. And they did it the night of the event. When we did it as a surprise announcement, they said, we want to join you. We, this is this important. So
Yeah.
that's just another night. I've had
Yeah.
so many good nights.
Well, and the beauty of it is there's so many good nights centered around this campus. There's so many.
And it's all for the students. I mean, there were students there that were our guests. There were students there, and they just said, we can't believe we're going to get to be in this. And I said, I can't wait for it to get built for you because this is what you deserve. And we have students that have come here because of this. I mean, and
Yeah.
professors that come here because the Sertine was just woefully inadequate. And so this is what had to happen.
Yeah.
It's long overdue. The buildings cost a lot of money.
Yeah. That's the collaborative effort, and that's what, these are just a few examples of what you and Mike have helped out and been a part of. And, it takes people like yourself to do that, but it takes the first step. And that comes from your upbringing and caring. That doesn't come from, just waking up when you're, when you retire at 52 thinking, oh, I think it's time to give away money now. It's like, no, you've had this in your life. There's so many examples of, your childhood and family around you that when you get to the stage, it's of no surprise because of the stories and the examples you've had growing up.
And seeing people that could make a difference. I've seen it all along. And another kind of interesting thing, I'm thinking back to the Hall of Fame. Mr. Clark was standing next to me, and he said, I shouldn't even be standing on the stage with you. You've done so much more than me. And I said, no, no, no. I said, we're just different. You're representing scientists. I'm representing philanthropy. And I said, besides, I want to tell you something. I went to a Methodist camp down in Southwest Oklahoma. We had a most beautiful chapel that was the B.C. Clark Chapel. We had chapel there every day when I went to church camp. I always wanted to thank that family. And I can't believe I'm standing on the stage with someone from that family. So will you please tell your family I said thank you? He goes, you know that chapel? And I said, yes, I do. I went to church camp there, and I was a counselor. And he goes, and he kind of just touched his chest. He goes, I'll tell everybody. And I thought, can you believe I've not come full circle? That I always wanted to thank, because I'd see the B.C. Clark commercial, and I
hear the jingle around Christmas.
Hear the jingle. And I was going, I wanted to thank that family. So will you thank them? So yes, you are a philanthropist too, because that was the most beautiful little chapel. And he goes, anyway, it was just, I thought, isn't life funny?
Yeah, you're on stage at the Oklahoma Hall of Fame being inducted with someone from that family.
And he's trying to tell me how much I've done, and I said, oh no, we're just different. You're in there for a different reason. But I thought, what a compliment. And he was really just trying to tell me that I've done. He was proud of what I've done. But I said, while we're talking, I just want to thank you for that. But I thought, boy, and you know what my mind went back to is my mom would be she'd just be thanking me for thanking him because she thought that was the most beautiful little chapel too. So I guess I do think about her, even though it's been a long time. But yeah, they provided this gorgeous chapel in the woods. It's down by Hinton, Oklahoma.
Okay.
And that was our church camp that we went to. And I don't know if it's even still standing, but I support the OSU Wesley Center, and they do some retreats. I'll have to find out from. And that's another one of my philanthropies. It's right at the edge of campus, and it's the most beautiful Wesley Center that you could ever imagine. I think probably in the world. But no, not really. But probably it's really good.
Yeah.
And there's several, Gary Sparks, who is the architect for Gallagher-Iba, the renovation, Joe Hall, who's a regent. And Joe Hall is helping with the Hall of Fame, a builder, and Mike and I are probably the biggest donors. But I love that our campus is anchored by that religious facility on the south side, and St. John's on the north side, which is a beautiful, beautiful student Catholic church. And that church hosts many, many Greenwood School of Music choral concerts. And it's a beautiful place for a concert. Father Carey is so kind to us. So I love that about this campus.
Do you have a favorite musical?
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. That's why I was so thrilled that Hugh Jackman sang it, and he brought in the OSU concert chorale, who sang it with him on stage.
Yeah.
So I cried. I cried when that happened because that was my 65th birthday gift. I made a donation to OSU Theater and brought in a producer, and they did. I wanted to honor what OSU Theater does.
Yeah.
They performed Oklahoma. They had orchestra from Greenwood School, and I got to watch them for the whole semester pull it together. Became friends with the director, and then Saturday night, Mike bought out the house, so I pretty much got to invite and fill it up with friends.
Really?
I sat next to Burns. We had a pre-party with an orange carpet,
Yeah.
walk through, and then after party, and I got to go up on the stage and hand flowers to the director. I got to sing an encore with him. It was so much fun, and they are talented. They were so talented. My nephew helped build the stage. I mean, it was so good, but I knew almost everybody in the crowd.
That's amazing.
And Burns said, wow, this theater's good. And that's what I wanted to do, was raise awareness of how good our theater is. But we bought out the whole Saturday night house, and I mostly gave it to besides friends and family, I also gave it to the people who were in the production so that they could invite all of their family. So it was so much fun. But it was the biggest birthday party I've ever had.
Yeah.
But that was fun. So
That's really
Oklahoma
cool.
will always be my favorite.
Okay. The other, I know we've talked a lot about Oklahoma State and your philanthropy around Oklahoma State, but you give other ways as well. You're on multiple boards outside of Oklahoma State, and so we'd love to hear you share, where that, obviously, you're focused to Oklahoma State, but your focus is elsewhere too. We'd love to hear some about your focus elsewhere.
Well, I'm a big believer in Tulsa Area United Way, and I did fund distribution for, 10 years. I also did Tulsa Speech and Hearing, which one of my favorite things that I ever did. I learned, and I can't really remember it very well, but I did ASL, and I chaired a Christmas party, and we had us signing Santa for the little children who were deaf, so that they could sit on his lap and he could take their wishes in sign language.
Yeah.
We did it 2 years, and it was so much fun. I can sign just enough to be dangerous, but those little children were so cute, and to be able to give them gifts and let them have a signing Santa Claus was so much fun. So I believe in Tulsa Speech and Hearing. They do great things. And then I still do work with now it's United Way, Payne County.
Okay.
Also, Payne County Youth Services, which is children at risk, and they have a shelter. And I also do Oklahoma Hall of Fame, and I've done 6 years, so I'm getting ready to cycle off on that. And of course, they do great things. And I recently am joining OMRF.
Okay.
And I'm very excited. They do great things. And I've followed them along through the MS Society. But I'm very excited to be joining that board. So I can't really tell you a whole lot about it, but I've taken the tour now 2 times and know Dr. James. I think that that's going to be extremely rewarding. I don't know which area I'm going to land in, but I'm thinking it's probably going to be philanthropy. But as you know, they do incredible work.
Incredible work, yeah.
And what committee I land on, I'm not certain of, but the important work that they're doing and the areas that they're going to expand in, it's needed.
Yeah.
Rural health is tough, especially for people with RA and MS, a family member with MS, and it's a tough disease. And I know a few people on the board, and they find it to be incredibly rewarding. So I'm very excited about that.
I know we could sit here for hours and talk about the stories, the people impacted. There's so many. And I wish we could sit here and for days, because I've got to listen to you chat a few times, and we've met a few times now, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on what the keys to your life have been, the keys to your happiness, and talk more in a broader aspect of, the lessons that you've learned giving, the lessons that you've learned growing up. And if somebody's listening that might be in college today, what are your keys to your success? What are the keys to your life and living a, successful, happy, fulfilling life for yourself in your experience?
I think the keys to success are looking further outside than just yourself, trying to see the big world, because you can get bogged down, especially in college, only focusing on yourself. Look to the big world, give where you can, even if it's only time, so that you can learn the philanthropy, how important it is, the importance of philanthropy, how it can change your life. Give some money if you can. Start young and make a difference and realize that difference you can. Change the world in small ways that will become big ways. Never ever forget where you came from. There are people in your life from high school, family, parents, aunts and uncles, teachers in high school and especially in college, and even friends who have shaped you and have made you who you are. Don't ever forget them. Honor them by being the best you can be, always being the best you can be. You will make mistakes. Move on. No regrets. Move on. Learn from them and, be the best, move on. Learn from them and keep moving ahead. Be as genuine as you possibly can. And if you can, try to know this important lesson. I believe from my faith that giving makes you richer, not poorer. I know it doesn't make sense to you, but I am old and I know this. Giving makes you richer, not poorer. And I do believe also, and I won't get this right, but I believe in the Wesley principle, which is do all the good you can in all the ways you can, for all the people you can, as long as ever you can. And I didn't get it completely right. But if you live your life like that, it will all come back to you. And the keys to happiness is, boy, let the little things go and try to focus on the good things in your life, because there are so many good things and every day is a celebration because it goes fast. And I can't believe that I'm the age I am. I am fast approaching 72, and I don't know what happened to it, where it went, but every day is a celebration, and there's much good to be done, and I've got more to do, and you've got a whole lot to do in your youth, so don't miss out.
Yeah. What are you excited about coming up for your future? What are you excited to give maybe in other ways, or to help, or to teach? A lot of your story, is around education. It's one thing I keep, your parents being teachers, and whether it's giving towards education or just educating others yourself, and you and Mike, and doing that. What are you excited about that's coming up? What are you excited to work on and to do?
Continuing to mentor students.
Okay.
Got a whole new group coming in. Still have one that's in a master's program. Learning to be a better mentor. And I'm excited. We have a new campaign coming up, raising money for Oklahoma State. I'm excited about the new vet med school and where that might go, because it's a remarkable school. And I want to take it up to the new level. I mean, not only is it going to be, our professors are wonderful, and we have taken animals to to those vets, and they are so good. So we need to compensate them accordingly and get them up to where they deserve to be. I'm excited about continuing to grow the music school. I'm excited about getting a 5th year of music industry. I want that award. And probably for us personally, to continue to travel a little bit. We're lucky enough to have a home in Maui, and I like to spend time there. And I do a lot of volunteer work there with our church. And we might actually get it rebuilt after the fires. And we had the opportunity to go to a Tongan, members of our church, Lahaina United Methodist, a Tongan farewell dinner. And it was so touching. They are the most pious people. And a lot of it was spoken in Tongan, but the songs they sang, and the gentleman that they were saying goodbye to us, he sang a Samoan song as a farewell. It was the most touching. I don't know how to describe it. They welcomed us and made us feel honored guests. As honored guests, I want to spend more time with them, to go to some more of their ceremonies. I really embrace the Hawaiian culture, and maybe it's just completely sentimental because that's where we got married. But it's when I die, that's what my heaven's going to look like. I think I've told you that before. I love the ocean. So I hope to spend more time there, and I hope that I get to spend a little more time in New York, and I hope Broadway comes back a little bit better. And maybe travel with some of the students.
Yeah.
I haven't decided where. They're going to Seoul, Korea. I've been to Japan.
Okay.
But Korea is I'm not sure. But probably students. I need to spend a little more time with students. I need to be a little bit better mentor.
Yeah. Brilliant.
And that's a lot of time.
That's a lot of time. And one thing that I'm sure you're very aware of is there is always more to be done.
There
Always.
is. And they always are so grateful.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I feel guilty if just a little bit of time, and they're so grateful.
Yeah.
So that's why I have to do it. When you think you can't do any more and you spend a little time with them, then you think, this is why I'm doing it.
Yeah. It's very rewarding.
It is rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mentor students?
I don't know. I haven't. I should, because I haven't. Back to needing to be proactive. I've never been asked to, and so that's why I think, I should put myself forward and see if anybody would be interested.
You really should think about it, because there are students that don't have a significant adult in their family, and they will listen to an adult who's not a parent or teacher.
Yeah.
So much better than they will listen to. I mean, they need a role model. And you can do it by text, you can do it by phone call. Okay. They're in desperate need of more mentors. They really are. I think everybody should do it. And it's a huge push for the campaign.
Yeah.
Because they need adults who are willing to do it.
Mm.
I encourage everybody. And you think you're going to change their life, but the life that's going to be changed is yours. And that is the message I can tell you with all my heart. It will change your life.
Yeah. It's amazing. Last question, something fun. Thanksgiving is coming up. What are you making for Thanksgiving? What is your specialty for Thanksgiving dinner?
My specialty is I'm going to be in New York because the parade goes in front of our apartment.
Brilliant.
So I'm going to be watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And then we're going to Morton Williams and we're carrying out Thanksgiving meal because my husband doesn't eat chicken.
Okay.
Nothing with a beak or a bill. He's a very,
really?
He's a very, he has a delicate palate.
Okay.
Is what he would tell you.
Okay.
And then we're going at 5:00 to the Rockettes show because the Rockettes are 100 years old.
Wow.
So it's going to be a very special, and I love Santa. And when Santa comes out, I cried because I love him.
Yeah.
He is so good, and I love that show. And then we will go home, and Mike will have street meat because he loves halal food.
Okay.
And I'll go back to get more leftovers because that's what you do.
Absolutely.
And then we get on the early plane and head home because we got one more football game. But it's our tradition to spend Thanksgiving week in New York.
Okay.
And the tree will be up, but it won't be lit. And I always see the cord and I always say, Mike, just go there and plug it in. Go plug it in.
Yeah.
Come on. But the Saks Fifth Avenue building will be lit up.
Okay.
So we're going to do
Brilliant.
that. You need to come to the parade with us.
In New York?
Yeah.
I have never been to New York. Not once.
Oh, it's kind of fun.
It kind of scares me as a big city, especially at Christmas.
It's pretty crowded.
Yeah.
Well, we just know when it's going to come, and we go down, and then we do a step ladder, and I lean against the building so I can see over the people. But the parade is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful parade. And at the end, when I also get excited when I see Santa there, it's a great parade. But we tried to do go out to eat, but it's too fancy of food. Mike truly eats. He's very limited palate.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we can't, I mean, that was my last question. However, we talked a little bit about Oklahoma State football. 13 years you've had your suite. And thank you for hosting us for the first game of the year. We've had a great time. I'm very excited for Saturday's game too. You love to host. You were telling me last week that you will be there 2 hours before it opens to set everything up, and it's not just the game, and it's the community and the people that you welcome in. So you have a deep love of hosting as well.
I do. I love that suite. I love. You've seen the decor. We made it very welcoming. It's us. It's all things that are important, although I need a picture of the music school in there. That's the one thing I don't have. Yeah. I make it very, it's us. It's got everything in it that is, it's homey, it's comfortable. And we have blankets if it's cold, which it usually isn't, but we have fresh flowers. You know where to get your drink. I tell you to help yourself. We have great snacks. We have the charcuterie board. But I love people to come and have a good time and not take anything serious. And if you're going to be cranky and serious, you don't get to come back because that's not what it's about. It's about enjoying life and having a good time and enjoying our time together. Yeah. And we're going to have a particularly good and exciting time this because we're going to have the Gamba family come and visit with us the third quarter, and they love our football suite.
Brilliant.
And so we're going to be drinking a toast to them and drinking a toast to the season and what's going to happen going forward when we get a new coach. Yeah. Nothing but bright future coming. And the basketball team is looking great. So, there's nothing but bright things coming forward, but I do love to host everybody. I love it. I think I have more fun than anything. And Mike says, I look at you and you're just smiling. Yeah. And if it's not, if you can't, the motto is you got to say something positive. If you say something negative, you got to say 2 positive things. And we make great drinks and it's a good time.
It's a great time. Thank you for hosting us. We had a great time. We're excited to be there on Saturday for the K-State game, early game. It's going to be a blast.
Mimosas. It'll be breakfast food for the first. So we'll have mimosas and, of course, my famous Orange Crush.
Yes.
And Gamba wines. No, I love it. I love it.
That's awesome.
Jenny Moore Campbell said something to me when I dreamed of what my life would be like. Is reality better than what I dreamed of? When I did my interview with her, I would tell you that reality is even better than what I could have ever dreamed of. And I think that tells you what my life has turned out to. Sometimes I can't even believe it. And Mike has a saying, he goes, back in 1975, did you think that we'd be, the president of OSU'd be saying, hey, come on over to the house, blah, blah, blah. And I always go, no. And he's going, I did. And it's just a joke we play.
Yeah.
But in my wildest dreams of what I thought my life would be, the reality of what's happened is so much better. And I'd say that's a good life. And I am so grateful. And I thank God every day for all that's happened to us. Mm-hmm. So, and I know that all good gifts come from above. So I'm thankful.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking some time. I'm excited to see the rest of the Greenwood Music Center and spend some time with you and Mike on Saturday. So thank you so much. Congratulations on your 1-year anniversary of being inducted to the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. Thursday night's going to be great. You get to stand up and be honored with everybody in the room who will be wearing their medallion as well. It's an exclusive club, and being there, being on stage, being around those incredible humans from Oklahoma, and adding yourself to the the people from Carnegie who have made a significant difference in not just Oklahoma, but in far and wide, the people that you've touched, and the people, the experiences and the lives you've impacted Oklahoma State, because that ripple effect, we will never know all of it, but it is definitely far and wide. So thank you so much. Excited to share this episode with our listeners, and for people listening, we'll catch you next episode. Cheers. And we just did an amazing podcast telling your story, but now it is a few hours later and we're at this wonderful house after decorating a Christmas tree with two of your best friends. So I'd like you to introduce your best friends. Who's with us?
I have Deb Engel to my left, and First Cowgirl, Angela Hess to my right. And yes, we decorated the most beautiful Christmas tree, which was a labor of love for University House for their first Christmas here. And I'd like to say thanks to you for helping, because we could not have done it without your help.
My height comes to use at some point, right? No, the tree looks amazing. But I want to add this to the end of our podcast. I'm going to ask you what these two really good friends mean to you, and share some great memories of your time with these ladies.
Well, we talked a great deal about the music school. And I have to tell you, the music school would not have happened without Deb Engel. I think I talked a little bit about that. She was my contact with the OSU Foundation, and I had great confidence in her. And honestly, we would not have given to OSU, and the music school would not have happened if not for our relationship with her.
Mm-hmm.
And Mike would tell you the same thing. And I think you saw today how amazing it was. You saw how the students use it. You saw the kids saying hello to me.
Mm-hmm.
And we owe it all to her. And it's the truth. We talked about it at the country club. And I said, do you think it's going to happen? Kind of, she planted a seed. And that is the sign of a good development officer.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been friends for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And you've seen her in our football suite. They are there because they are our friends. Now, I've known Angela for probably 25 years, way back in Tulsa. And so when they came back to here, to the mothership, to be president, we could not have been happier. We had them at our house immediately and said, we could not be happier. What a fabulous choice for president number 20. And we welcomed them and wanted to make them feel happy and enjoy Stillwater as much as we do. We could, just hit the ground running and could not be happier. Just resumed our friendship. That tree was our gift to them to make them feel special, because they are very special.
Amazing.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I'll ask each of you to share maybe one of your favorite stories of how you met Anne, how Anne's been in your life, but what comes to mind when I say to you, tell me about Anne Greenwood.
Anne actually introduced my best memory perfectly. Anne and Mike had made a commitment to the McKnight Center, and I knew it was because of the students and that she wanted to see involved in the McKnight Center. And she said, let's go to lunch. So we went to a quiet lunch at the country club, and we're having this best conversation, went on and on and on. And she just wanted to know, tell me about these designs that, what's connected and to the McKnight Center, what's going to happen there. And I said, well, we're going to do the McKnight Center. That's for certain. But until we get a commitment, we won't go forward with the music school. But when we do, we will. And we have other commitments to the music school. And we talked about that, about, what it would mean to the students and how the program had grown, all kinds of things like that. And I'll never, ever forget walking to the car, and Anne kind of turns around, grabs my arm and says, let's not talk about this to anybody, but don't do anything more with the music school, because I think that's what we're going to do. And I just sat there. I didn't know what to say or do. I was in total shock. We hugged. We went our ways. I got in the car. I think I cried. And finally, I called my boss and I said, you're not going to believe what just happened. I don't know, when or what's going to happen. And it was just a few weeks. Then later, we were all called to Burns' office, to the conference room. And honestly, I thought they were probably going to support something with the students. And they said they wanted to do the naming gift to make it go forward. And there again, I mean, it was just like, wow. I was just, they did it for the students, and that was evident. And it just moved me so much how generous they are and how much they care.
Wow. We do go back about 5 years, back to Tulsa when Jim was chief operating officer at the OSU campus.
With Gary Turnipole.
With Gary Turnipole, and Marlo Duffy was in the foundation.
Yeah.
And she actually introduced Jim and I to you and Mike. And we started just getting acquainted with each other, went out and had some dinners together. And we were always just taken back by their kindness and their big hearts for anything that they do. Anne and Mike do not go in halfway.
Yeah.
They are all in with whatever they do, just like this Christmas tree today.
Yeah.
This has been a huge transition for Jim and I in a very short period of time. And Anne was so generous to say, I want this to be a really special Christmas for you all. And as you can see by the tree in the living room that you helped put together, it is amazing. But that friendship, Anne and Mike left Tulsa and moved to Stillwater. And so we had some years where we really didn't see each other. But when we had the opportunity to come back to Stillwater, Mike and Anne were actually our neighbors in our little rent house when we first got here, which was amazing. And we literally just picked up where we left off. It was like no time had passed. We picked up right where we left off. And we just have such an affinity for Mike and Anne, not even just for all of the gifts that they give, and they don't expect anything for it. Their generous hearts are such a lesson, I think, for all of us.
Yeah.
They don't sit around and look for accolades for what they've done. They do it because of the generosity in themselves. And then the other thing that I really look at Anne particularly, her passion for students and the impact that they are making on the lives of students who would not have the opportunities that they have today if not for what Mike and Ann are doing is incredible. So I look at her and I think I want to model myself after her because I want to be that person who will do something without expectation. And I think that they exemplify that in everything that they do.
Yeah.
They do.
And Anne shared a little bit earlier about your initiative for mental health. You share a little bit about that and what the plan is with there?
Yeah, and it's a deep passion of mine, and it's something that I've talked to Jim about it when we first were asked to come to Stillwater. I said, I feel like this is finally the time because mental health is so hard to talk about. And in my life, I've lived it. So I have a very, very deep connection to my own struggles and then the struggles that my son has had along the way and how we've learned to navigate through that with no help, just having to figure it out. So ultimately, we've started this initiative called Cowboys Care, and I could not be more proud of the people that have stepped up, but particularly the students. These students who have said, how do we help other students to get help? And through this initiative, we started Cowboy Care's ambassadors. In last month, we graduated 100 students who signed up to be personal ambassadors who were willing to take the training to become ambassadors. And we will graduate over 100 more this month. Yes, this month. And it's really growing. And we are hearing from parents how much they need this, not only for their children, but for themselves, that they can have the confidence that when they bring their children and drop them off at Oklahoma State University, that there are resources available to them. And we have huge resources that people don't even know about. So our primary mission right now is to get that message out to other people, and particularly our parents. We want to start this on the first day when they come for orientation.
Good.
We are not starting talking about this at the 8th week. We're going to talk about it in the first week and every week thereafter. Mental health doesn't discriminate. I say it all the time. It doesn't care what your skin color is, your religion,
Your social status.
your social status. It doesn't matter. And you would be surprised how many people are struggling in silence. And the thing is that as a community, we need to remove that stigma and that silence and make it okay to talk about it openly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great. It's been fun. Thank you for welcoming me into your home this afternoon and
Love
seeing
that.
the joy and the love and the community you guys have, because that's what friendship's all about. So Christmas does that to people too.
Yes,
Christmas
it
brings
does.
us together. So
Thank you for your assistance.
yeah, I said to Anne earlier, I didn't have that on my 2025 bingo card, but it's been a blast. Thank you. Merry Christmas and go Pokes.
And to you too.
Thank you.
Hope you guys enjoyed that great episode. Thank you so much for listening. As always, huge shout out to our sponsors, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, sharing Oklahoma story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com and follow them on Instagram for daily updates at OklahomaHOF. Our other sponsor, the Chickasaw Nation, amazing sponsor. They do amazing things for the state, and they're always sponsoring something in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma, and without their support, we wouldn't be able to do what we do.
This episode is brought to you by the Doghouse OKC. Recently, I have been in need of some doggy daycare for my 2 pups, and the Doghouse have come in clutch. The team over there are incredible. They've taken care of my 2 golden doodles, and so it's been an honor to partner with them on the podcast and share the love. And adding to that is the Doghouse. And so if you're in need of doggy daycare in the day or boarding overnight, they do grooming and other cool things too, but I've had a fantastic experience, and it's an honor and a privilege to share this with you too. So go to thedogHouseOKC.com and follow them on Instagram at thedogHouseOKC, and hopefully our pups will run into each other.
Thank you for listening. We are inspired by those around us and hope that you are too. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review so we can keep telling your stories. For more great Oklahoma content, follow This Is Oklahoma on Facebook and Instagram.